Hey everybody, after the April snowpocalypse, which I think was like about April 20th or something like that, we got some snow and it stayed overnight, kind of had a drop in temperature. I want to show you what the garden looks like so far, because the garden actually did really well. The cold-loving plants seem to like that snow. A couple of things I may have lost, time will tell, I'll show you all that. And just going to update you on the garden. Is continuing this journey of the passion of homesteading and gardening, kind of journaling it here through these videos. And again, for those of you, if you're joining for the first time, I will talk about things from a Christian perspective, because I am a Christian unashamedly, and I do see things through that perspective, because God's the one that created all these beautiful things we have to enjoy. So let's dive in, let's take a look around the garden. Alright, so right here you can see some iceberg lettuce I got all along here. Picked that up at a store. They had a bunch of seedlings at a really good deal. I think I got 6 heads of them for like $3.50 or something like that. Really good deal. Never grown it before, so I grabbed some. Now you're going to see some other stuff here. I got some grass. All that brownish stuff there is grass clippings that I've just been harvesting from the yard this week. I believe it's a permaculture principle that says use what you have as you garden, and a ready biodegradable mulch that many of us have is grass from our garden. And I don't put any chemicals or anything on it, so it's all good stuff to put down. A lot of stuff has blossomed and grown up since last time we did the video. Right here, if I get real close, that is a beet plant. You can see the little red there. That's growing. Of course, there's some of those bigger lettuce things that I bought, and they've grown a bit since I planted them. And then if you come along here, this is a new type of kale. I didn't have this last year, but I got it this year. It's a new type of kale, and it's been going hog wild here recently. There's also spinach and radish throughout here. These, I believe, are the radishes. If you dig down in there, you can see a little bit of the radish. The radish greens, the leaves are actually very good when they're tender. They get kind of woody as they grow up. There's some strawberry that survived all this patch where I moved the strawberries this year. And a little strawberry patch survived and is growing right here on the corner. I think I'm going to leave that. Over here, I believe it's mustard that has sprung up, and some wildflowers, just leaving those to attract the good insects. And then these are onions from last year that are still doing pretty well. If I come over here, I've not had as much success. This is another patch of leafy greens. Sorry for the background noise. Some leafy greens. There is more kale, I believe, back here, and different types of lettuce, and there's some lettuce heads that I planted. This has not really sprung up as much, so I'm planning to do, after this video today, a bunch of sowing. Not planning to put my hot weather vegetables out like tomatoes and things until later. I'll plant some seed, but the stuff I have inside I plan to keep. Now my potatoes were kind of interesting. The day before we had the snow, it was a nice day. I cut the grass and I spread browned some of the composted, I guess you would say, grass, semi-composted here around the potatoes. The interesting thing is the potatoes in the pot here did not really do that well. I mean, they're doing kind of okay. I think they'll survive once we get some hot weather again, but they did not like this cold snap. My theories on that are because they're not in the ground. They grew a lot faster, and I think they were exposed to more of the cold elements. But if you come over here, you can see here my other 2 potato patches. Several different varieties are in there. And these potatoes did a little bit different. So let me get a little close here. These potatoes are not as high. I buried them quite deep in the ground, and they're having to work to till up this soil more than the ones in the pot. This is the thicker soil just right in the yard. But if you look here, right there, that's potato, and that's potato sneaking up. And there's not a ton of them yet, but they're starting to sprout. And I think they did a lot better here. My theory is because I think the residual ground temperature did a lot better. And since they're kind of down in divots, I just think there kind of was a little bubble of heat that kept them more protected. That's my theory from looking at those. Over here, we got the other potato patch. I need to throw some more mulch on. Planning to throw a bunch of that mulch that's been from my very first cutting, and some from the weeks since. I've been cutting grass for like a month now. all that's going to move, and that's going to be a tomato and pepper bin. And I got several plants inside already that are fairly good size. Planning to wait till about Mother's Day. I think weather's going to be much warmer and better. I just don't want to put them out too fast and kill them or delay them. But I'm going to plant some seeds there, Lord willing, today, and possibly get a lot more pepper and stuff plants. The seed only keeps so long, and I experimented getting the seed last year. Another thing I found a really good deal, of all places, at Walmart. I went to another store that was having a good sale on little seedlings of plants, and lo and behold, they were in their ad, but they didn't have any. And so I went to Walmart, which was next door, and found a really good deal on cabbage. Never grown it before, but this right here is cabbage. And right here, you got to kind of be careful what you plant them next to, from what I was reading. Gonna be first time growing those, and we'll see how they do. I got them in some semi-shady places. I got 3 of them here. You got one there, and one right there. And so hopefully these cabbage plants will do well. From what I was reading, they can be susceptible to some disease, and you don't want to plant them more than 2 years, I believe, in the same place. So that's one thing. Here's the peas. The peas have come up a little bit. You can see them trellising. They've come up a bit since last time. I'll get a little closer here. See, they're starting to climb that trellis, and they've come up a little bit. The strawberries that were all transplanted this year have been doing very good. They're starting to flower, so hopefully I'll get some strawberries off them this year. Hey, look, some wild onions are right there. So that's nice. Right here, blackberry bush transplanted this year. It's doing really good. I anticipate getting a lot. This is parsley from last year. It was much smaller. I bought it as a little kind of seedling plant from a store, and it survived the winter. Didn't do hardly anything. There were some leaves kind of around a little bit, but it survived. Lavender, not having much luck. Didn't have much luck with that last year. That's a flower from last year. Hopefully it's going to come back. Here are some flowers, and I believe right there is one of them. So hopefully they're going to start coming up soon once it gets a little warmer. And over here there is some more flowers and moving into zucchini and squash, but I'm not really seeing too much by way of sprouts yet, so I'm probably going to throw some more seed down today and hopefully get some more stuff. Right here, you can't really see it, but I found a really good deal. I think it was at Buckeyes I went to. It was like 29 cents or something like that, I think, per each asparagus plant. So I put some asparagus in here. Now they're going to need like 3 years, I believe it is, to actually get to where you can harvest them. But they are a perennial, and so going to have to do some different things, water them. They have pretty good sun here. Looking forward to getting asparagus over there, and I think they're doing well as far as I can tell so far. Over here there was some carrot seed, but I'm not really seeing much, so I plan to sow some more carrots over by the leafy greens, because what I was reading is they should do pretty good there. The rose bush here, still doing all right. Transplanted that this year, and it's got some growth, so looking forward to that this year. Over in the mint section, I transplanted all this mint from along the fence where I just was, not exactly where we're standing, but I had it all there if you look in past videos. But it can be an invasive species, so I dug it all up and I've moved it, and as far as I can tell, I think I got it all. Thankfully, I think the Lord blessed with that before it could kind of take over along the fence line. I keep keeping an eye out. But here is a bunch of mint that I transplanted. I also have gotten transplants off of this for small little pots I have inside. Over here, you can see some more stuff there. I believe that's a mustard plant, if I'm not mistaken. And look, it's got all these little like legumes on it. So that must be seed packets. It's taken off. That grew over the winter. Right here, I'm not sure what that is. Kind of give it some time. Maybe it'll grow. There are a few weeds here. But I planted some different seed, chamomile, and other mint seed that I believe I harvested off the flowers of the mint last year. There's some more transplanted mint. There's some transplanted mint there. And here, they're peppermint and spearmint. And I can't really tell the difference till they get bigger and you smell them and taste them. Now this plant that I transplanted last year, Not so sure it's going to make it. Going to give it a little bit more time. I'm reminded of the parable, if I'm not mistaken, where the master, the owner of the garden, goes to the worker and says, chop down that tree. It looks like it's dead. It's not producing fruit. It's not growing. And the worker says, give it a little bit more time. You know, I think they spend like 3 years or 3 seasons putting manure and digging around it and trying. I don't think I'm going to give it that long, but I am going to wait a little bit longer and then maybe just get another plant. I showed you the maple tree last time. I won't show you that again. Over here, planning today to put a bunch of watermelon cantaloupe seeds down. This is a really sunny spot that's good for that. I grew a lot of beets and grew watermelon here last year and some carrots and kind of all different types of stuff. And then here, I think I showed you last time that I planted corn. Now, I'm probably going to have to plant more corn, and I had a lot more success growing seedlings inside than planting directly into the ground. And if you look here real closely, right here is where I planted corn seedlings that I transplanted from indoors. And when the snow came, I think that I lost the corn. I'm hoping not, but I think I did. If you get really close here, right there, that's the corn plant. And if you look all along this, the corn didn't do well. Some of it was, 4 or 6 inches tall, and I think the snow just killed it. I'm hopeful it'll come back, but I don't know. So I'm going to try growing some more seedlings inside, because those germinated and did really well when I transplanted them in the yard. And I got 4 rows here of corn that I'm still hopeful about. Other than that, the blackberry patch here is still doing good. You'll begin to see the formation of the flowers and what's going to become berries. It's all over that. And there's a berry from last year. It's, just probably, I assume that's seed now. Not really sure. But I do have some, the plant is expanding. If you look here, it's expanding from where it was last year. Those are all new sprouts, I believe, and they're growing up along here. Here's another one, if you can see that, and right there. So the patch is doing well. That's the garden update so far. Hopefully sometime around Mother's Day, when I start getting a bunch of the warm weather plants out, I can give you another update. One thing I did want to ask those of you watching, I'm thinking of putting together a resource on the website, a little kind of free ebook or downloadable list of some kind about some different ways you can homestead potentially. Oops, hold on. I'm thinking about putting together a little bit of a document, maybe it's a mini ebook or just kind of a checklist of some things you may be able to do as a renter interested in homesteading and gardening. One of the things a lot of the authors talk about, and several Christian authors, like I believe it's Redeeming the Dirt and Born Again Dirt with Noah Sanders, and Joel Salatin, I think, talks about some of this. If you're interested in farming or homesteading, one of the best things you can do is don't go out and buy land. Just see if you can lease land or use what you already have. If you're in an apartment or something, there are things you can grow inside. You can do grow lights and hydroponics and different things you can try, or even your windowsill or balcony. And even if you're in the city, there may be something that the government would allow you to use, a vacant lot or something, to make a community garden for free. So just kind of explore your options. And if you rent property, you can do potentially a lot of stuff. And so I'm thinking about putting that checklist together, just ideas, because if you take care of things and you keep it cut and you keep it maintained, I know stuff looks a little grown up right now because I'm in the middle of moving some things and getting it looking nicer. But if you take care of it, you may be surprised what your landlord may be fine with. And, maybe other things you can do around the property or the house to just kind of keep things nice. You have no idea unless you ask, right? And so I'm thinking about putting that document together. I explain all that because I'd like to know if that's something you're interested in, if it's something you'd be interested in reading. If I put it out on the blog, ryanmmarks.com, please comment, let me know. And also, if it's something that you think would be not only a great resource for you, that you'd be interested in sharing. There's not a whole lot of stuff written on some tips and tricks about that, so at least that I've been able to find. So interested if it's something that's worth putting it together or not. So appreciate your comments on that. And that is the end of the garden update after the snowpocalypse of April here in Missouri. God bless you all. Have a good day.